Hey guys, Fiero880 and welcome to the installation of the rear speakers on my 2010 Mustang Convertible GT, or you can call it Part 2. Now, as you know, on the first video I did the installation on the front speakers on this Mustang with the Kenwood 4x8s, 5x7s, and the sound was spectacular. So, to give you a little recap of everything, here's what it sounds like right now. All the speakers. Now, if I change the speakers to the rear, I don't know any idea how to do this. I've read a couple of things. There are no videos on YouTube how to do this, but from what I've read, what you're going to do with first is you're going to try to remove this top section, which supposedly unclips. Okay, so next, what I'm guessing I'm going to do, now remember the panel is a two-piece panel. You've got your lower section and then you've got your mid-section. Now, I believe if I pull this away from the weather stripping right here, I should, oh, that's coming right out. I should be able to pull this right off. And by doing so, I get access right to the speaker right there. Alright, so I got my ratchet, got me a 6mm socket, and I'm just going to go ahead and remove the bolts. With both speakers removed, as you can see, there's the difference between the factory speaker and the Kenwood speaker. Now, I will say this, I wish the front door speaker was as beefy as the rear speakers. This is pretty impressive, I'll admit. This is actually a fairly decent sized magnet. And between the two, they're going to both be almost in the same weight range as well. So I'm almost wondering if I'm really going to get any sound difference upgrading to the Kenwoods. Obviously, I've got my tweeter and my mid-range speaker on the Kenwood, whereas it looks like this is just a woofer on the factory speaker. And as y'all know, what I'm going to do here in a minute is I'm going to get my soldering iron. I'm going to cut the plug off the factory speaker and solder it onto the Kenwood speaker. That way I don't have to buy an adapter. And I'm also going to transfer the foam. I'm going to try to show y'all my little trick here that I do on these connectors. Now first, I know this is hard to do. When you're destroying something that you know is not bad, because really all I'm doing is kind of doing this to match the front speakers, and I've been told that the sound difference is incredible. So that is the only reason why I'm destroying this factory speaker. Because obviously once you destroy the factory plug, there's no point of return. So there's your factory plug right there. And what I do is I trim off this excess plastic right here with what needs to be done. Okay. And then all I'm doing now is I'm soldering this onto right here. And at the same time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend these in a little bit. You can hear my kids screaming in the background. Alright, there we go. Let's go ahead and solder this. When you're doing this soldering of the original factory connector, you've got to be careful. I ran into a problem with this, unlike last time, but there was glue right on the wire that attached from there to the actual speaker, to the factory speaker, and that glue was not allowing to get me a nice flow of the solder to the terminal here on the speaker to make it connect and stay secure. So now I'm going to go ahead and try to do the other side and make sure I can get that nice and firm. And see how that did that. The biggest thing was soldering. Soldering is really easy as long as you have the right materials, the right soldering iron to do the, with the heat and everything. But basically I flowed a perfect solder flow from here to here, making a solid connection. And this is solid. This isn't going to go anywhere now. So that plug is ready to go. When you're trying to remove the speaker, the original foam surrounding for the speakers, just take a razor blade, go around the edges first, and loosen it up from the glue. Is it necessary to put this on to the new speaker? I don't know. Probably not, but I know that the newer cars now have a lot more material put on pieces of the car and dashboard to eliminate rattles and stuff. And I mean, I doubt that the new Kenwood speaker would rattle, but it's not a bad thing to do. It's a little time consuming. You can screw it up, you can break it. It's not a perfect science, at least in my opinion it's not. Just as long as you can, for the most part, get this transferred over to the new speaker. Patience, which I don't have. If you take your time and round that with a razor blade, getting this off in one piece is possible. There you go. As I did in the other video, this bottom mount has got to come off as well. Ready to go. So everything is complete. All the speakers are installed, both the driver's side and passenger side rear speakers are installed. Everything fit very well. I had no problems. The only concern is I like this idea where you just move the panel over to install your speakers, but you really need to have a flashlight down here to see where your holes are at for when you're putting your screws in to mount your new speakers. That was really the only issue that I had. Once you get your speaker installed, just like I did on the other side, and I know the camera angle wasn't that great, you're just going to work your way with the molding, work everything back in place. And same thing with your top panel here, just work it into place. So realistically, how hard was it? When you're trying to film a video, it was a little complicated trying to get everything in there because, again, you're not removing that middle panel all the way. You're just moving it out of the way enough to get your screws and your original speakers out and the new speakers installed. Also, I had a little problem on that first speaker getting the soldering correct on the connectors and everything because of that rubber, whatever substance was on there from the factory speakers. But the passenger speaker went much quicker, much easier. Also, as you can see, I got my foam insulation stuff off the original speaker, off the passenger side much easier. So all in all, I mean, about a 30-minute job, maybe an hour if you're not used to mechanical abilities and skills like that, but realistically it wasn't so bad at all. So let's hear what it sounds like. I don't know. I hope it's enough worth it. Let's see. That's not bad. That actually sounds pretty decent. subscribe, like, or wherever it is down here and everything. Thanks again for watching my videos.